know people say they're wanting to. We gotta wait till 6 o'clock.
And normally, if she doesn't sleep, but she will sleep. Down there, she sleeps as soon as that.
Okay.
That's the architect. Okay. And that's just attendance, Mayor. That can go to Bridget.
I don't think I need, here, take this too, please. Where it's put
That's your second public hearing.
Thank you for your help.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6 o'clock and time to begin our January 6th meeting. This time we'll call ourselves to order. And if, on the number one on the agenda is the resolution honoring retiring employee Ray Killough. Russ? Killough, I'm sorry.
Mayor Kilgore, City Council members, appreciate the opportunity tonight to recognize Alan Killough, retiring as our water plant superintendent after 30 years. Before I ask you to come down, Mayor, with the resolution and the watch, if you'd introduce your family who's here, Alan.
Okay, my wife is with me.
So grateful to have her here, and Alan's reception is next Thursday at 1:30, and that invite was sent out some time ago, and we welcome all of you that can attend that, and we'd be very happy if you could. But this is one of those happy and sad moments. It's happy to see Alan, after 30 years, reach this milestone in his career, so we want to rejoice in that and celebrate with him. It's sad for me, especially because when you lose a top quality division manager and a public servant who's dedicated so much of his life to meeting the needs of Monroe, the critical needs for clean drinking water. So I did one little calculation, Mayor. If you worked at this water plant like Alan has for 30 years, 365 days a year, turns out Alan's been responsible for treating and delivering over 65 billion gallons of water to our citizens since 1982, 85 when he first started, 1985. So that is a lot of water to be treated, and it's certainly gotten more difficult to be in the business that we're in, and Alan's done a fantastic job for us. So I wanted to say those words before you say the kind words that you're going to say, Mayor, and just want to really express my appreciation to Alan on behalf of the city and our citizens, because he's done a great job for this city. So with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over to you.
We'll talk about all that water. You know, the old saying, there's a lot of water over the dam, but that's a lot of water through the pipes, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, we do thank you for your service. And at this time, I do want to read the resolution that the City Council has voted so graciously for you, and well deserved. And then I'd like to present it to you. But the resolution is, whereas on the occasion of his retirement on January the 16th, 2015, the City Council wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Alan Ray Killough for his loyal and dedicated service to the City of Monroe Water Resources Department. Whereas Alan joined the City of Monroe as a water treatment operator December the 2nd, 1985, with a pay rate of $5.50 per hour. Whereas Alan was promoted to chief operator on July the 11th, 1996, and then promoted to water treatment superintendent March the 27th, 1998. Whereas for 29 years, Alan has focused on providing safe drinking water and operating the city water treatment plant in a cost-effective and explanatory manner to serve the citizens and business of the City of Monroe. Whereas the City of Monroe is most grateful for the professional and personal contribution Alan has given to the City of Monroe. Whereas the City Council of the City of Monroe wishes to acknowledge and express its appreciation to him for the years of distinguished service to the citizens of Monroe, noting that Alan will be missed both professionally and as a friend. Now therefore it be resolved that the Mayor and City Council publicly expresses their sincere appreciation to Alan Ray Killough for his outstanding performance to the City of Monroe over the past 29 years, and extend very best wishes for a long and happy retirement. Be it further resolved that this resolution be entered upon the permanent minutes of the City Council, and witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Monroe to be affixed the 6th day of January 2015. And Alan, I'd like to come down and present this to you at this time. again, Alan, let me say how grateful we are for your 30 years of service in the city of Monroe and all those gallons of water that went through the pipe. And we thank you for your dedication that you've been to the city of Monroe. You've been an excellent employee, as they say. You've done a great job, and we want to thank you so much. We want to wish you the best in your retirement. And I hope you'll take that and hang it in your home somewhere and look at it every day. And also, we should have given you this watch 30 years ago so you've been on time. No, I always say that as a kid in Mountain, but we do want to present you this watch, and we hope you will wear it with pride and enjoy it for a long time to come. And again, thank you so much. And we want to thank your wife and your family also for letting us have you for 30 years. Because I know the wives play a big important role in the men folks. Some of us don't want to admit that too readily, but we know it's true. The wives play a big part, and we thank you for what you've done for the city of Monroe. And we wish you the best. Thank you so much. Good luck to you. And at this time, we'll give you 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Whatever you want to say.
Well, I guess, first of all, I want to thank council and city manager for giving me the opportunity to, make this living. And now the freedom to go out and trade legacy, I hope. So that's my plans anyway. But it's been an experience working for City of Monroe. It's one I'm glad I was able to do, and I think you're in good hands with the person taking over, and hope the city continues to prosper and do well.
I hope you trained him in your customer service skills, because you've had to have quite a bit of those. And we really appreciate the job you did for us.
Thank you. You've done an excellent job.
I need to make a motion. Okay.
Congratulations. Enjoy your retirement.
We didn't do that. We just did it, didn't we? We just did it.
Yeah, I did that one.
Thank you, Ellen, for all your hard work. Appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much, ma'am, for all you did. Thank you so much.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good luck to you.
Thank you for everything. Fine accomplishment. Congratulations. Congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to
Oh,
approve.
wait a minute, Brian's got to go through it.
Yeah.
What?
No, the resolution, it's for the resolution,
Oh,
actually.
okay, motion to approve.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what- I thought we were already to the consent.
No, we're doing this one on by the numbers. I need a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
All in favor? All in favor? That's approved. Resolution approved. Thank you very much. And we're going to the consent agenda at this time, and Brian will turn the consent agenda over to you, sir.
All right, well, thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to run through the consent agenda to give everyone an overview of the items that will be approved on the consent agenda. Item number 2 is approval and acceptance of minutes and reports. We have minutes from council meetings, board and committee meetings on this that are for approval. Item F on this is disbursement report for fiscal year 2014-2015 of the City Council discretionary funds. We have 2 items on here, I think from the mayor, $500 to Turning Point and $250 to the community shelter. Item number 3, resolutions. We have 2 of those, designating individuals authorized to perform investment security transactions. This is a housekeeping item we need to undergo with the loss of Greg Demko, who's moving on. This updates the signature for the city to buy, sell, or sign or transfer any business transactions. It authorizes Lisa Strickland and Ashley Ivy and myself in the capacity of Assistant City Manager to do that. And it removes Greg Demko from the list and adds Larry Faison, the City Manager, to that list. Capital Project Budget Ordinance to close Downtown Streetscape Design Project. This was in relation to the match provided by Council for the Tiger Grant, which we were not awarded. This returns those funds to their respective enterprise and general fund balance funds. So it puts that money back into those accounts. Budget amendments, item number 5. Payment to Police Department from Advanced Driver Training Services, Inc., ADTS. This is acceptance of $150 by the Police Department from ADTF for the use of the traffic cones. Accepting and approving grant funds from Electricity Smart Communities, grant for downtown redevelopment center theater for marquee restoration. This is in the amount of $4,000 with an equal match that requires no additional funds. We will get the funds from the current budget, so we need no budget amendment. This provides, it's for the restoration, to begin the restoration on the marquee at the center theater. Budgetary compliance for fiscal year 2014 budget. This provides adjustments for 4 housekeeping items. Unemployment at $9,700. One for Tinkerbell at $10,000. Workers' comp at $150,000, and just general water resources for the generator at $175,000. Call for public hearing to be held January 20th, 2015 to consider economic development, inducement, and land conveyance for Glenmark Generics. This will, in all likelihood, be a land in consideration to expand their current product line. $9.5 million in equipment is the expansion dollar. The land is in consideration for the incentive. Donation of surplus furniture to Union County Community Shelter. This is furniture from the Monroe Aquatic and Fitness Center lobby. We've done some renovations there to update that facility. The community shelter can use the furniture, so we are asking you to declare that surplus so that they can be put it to good use. Interim tax collector, appointment of interim tax collector Kelly Fur Presley. This is needed with the retirement of current tax collector Sheila Bell. The recruitment for Sheila's replacement is underway, and upon finding the suitable candidate, staff will return to council with that person for your consideration and formal appointment as tax collector. And that position has also grown in some responsibilities, and it will include the function of revenue management. Part B of this, adoption of order of collection as required by the Machinery Act. This authorizes the appointee, the person selected, to collect outstanding taxes. And those are the 8 items on your consent agenda.
Okay,
Motion
thank
to
you.
approve the consent agenda.
I have a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, the consent agenda has been approved. We'll go to the regular agenda. And item 9 is a public hearing. Zoning map amendment request for property located at the intersection of Skyway Drive and Concord Avenue.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm presenting a zone map amendment request filed by Union County for the property located at the intersection of Concord Avenue and Skyway Drive. Subject property is outlined in blue, located along Skyway Drive, Concord Avenue. Box pavement is located just to the north. The applicant is requesting to rezone the property from GI General Industrial and Residential R20 to Conditional District Union County Human Service Building. This is the zoning map of the area. As stated, the property, half the property is on GI General Industrial, the other half is on R20. The properties to the north is GB General Business, to the east is General Business and R20, to the south is R20, and also to the west is R20 Residential. The applicant is requesting the rezoning to the conditional district in order to develop the Union County Human Service Building that will house the Health Department and the Department of Social Services. The building being proposed is a brick 3-story structure that has approximately 176,000 square feet. To go over a few parts of the site plan. Again, the subject property is located Skyway Drive, Concord Avenue. There's a 50-foot setback required on both Concord Avenue and Skyway Drive. The site plan does satisfy that requirement. Landscaping. The ordinance requires a streetscape buffer be installed along Concord Avenue and Skyway Drive. Typically with a streetscape buffer, it will include a mixture of trees and shrubs. Additionally, is required since the adjacent residential use property is on R20, there's a 50-foot landscape buffer required. The landscape buffer will be improved to trees and landscaping also. And also there's requirement for trees throughout the parking lot. The site plan does meet those requirements. Parking spaces. Currently, our ordinance does not require parking. They're required to provide a reasonable amount based on their use. They're providing a total of 565 spaces. There'll be 232 on the employee side and 233 on the customer side. And the way they have it set up, they want the employees separate from the customers. So once you turn to one parking lot, you can't go from one parking lot to the other. If you turn in off Skyway Drive, you have to exit off Skyway Drive. And likewise for Concord Avenue, if you enter off Concord Avenue, you have to exit off Concord Avenue. The employee parking will be accessed from Skyway Drive, and the customer parking will be accessed from Concord Avenue. The applicant is also proposing in this area here additional 153 spaces to be installed at a later time, but they are wanting to go ahead and seek approval for tonight. And based on their needs as they grow, they can add that parking if they need to be later down the road. Sidewalk requirement, pursuant to the engineering requirements, a 5-foot sidewalk is required along Skyway Drive, the entire frontage, as well as Concord Avenue. The site plan does reflect the installation of the sidewalk. It's part just due to the magnitude of the building and the location, the amount of people generating trips there daily. Staff did require a traffic impact analysis to look at how the traffic will be mitigated for this type of site, amount of people that's drawn to. And the traffic impact analysis reviewed by both DOT and the Engineering Department for City of Monroe was reviewed and approved. And what came out of the traffic requirement was that, and the county had already agreed to doing this part, they'll be doing left turn lanes and right deceleration lanes to all their access points. They'll have a full access. When I say full access, meaning you can either turn left or right into it, and you can exit either way to it, either going north or south on 601. They'll have one full access on 601, and then I have a right in, right out on 601, meaning that you can turn right into it, but when you go to leave, you can only turn right out of it, like coming back toward town. But both those entrances, the full movement will have a left turn lane and a right deceleration lane, and the right in will have a right turn lane. The access along Concord Avenue will both have a right deceleration lane and a left turn lane getting access to the property. One of the parts that came out of the traffic impact analysis too was the analysis there at the intersection of Concord Avenue and Skyway Drive. What came out of the analysis was that a traffic signal was warranted at the location, so the county will be installing a traffic signal at the location. In addition to that, they will be installing a right turn lane off of Skyway Drive onto Concord Avenue, as well as installing a right turn lane on Concord Avenue on Skyway Drive as part of the improvement of the project. The other point to mention about this, as far as the project is within the corridor for the proposed northern loop that goes around Monroe. At this point in time, the northern loop has been on the books since 1989. At this point in time, there's been no funding for the northern loop. At this point, it's really just a line on a map. At the point in time, there's funding and the city or the state proceeds to move forward with the northern loop. At that time, detailed analysis would have to be conducted, as well as public hearings to figure out exact location for the corridor or exactly where the right-of-way would go for the road. And after speaking to the engineering department, since it's not in the near future, it's something that we can easily address when we get to that point if we go to do the northern loop. At this point in time, it's not a guarantee that would be done anyway. As far as the public notification, the applicant, they did hold a public notification meeting. There were approximately about 15 residents came to the meeting. Some of the concerns coming to the meeting was the potential traffic impacts, the light pollution, and the adequate buffering of the adjacent residential properties. The traffic impact, that was mitigated by the traffic impact analysis, and what come out of that was the turn lanes and traffic signal. The screening or the buffering, that's been addressed by the ordinance. And the light pollution, the applicant, they are installing lights within the area of the building, and actually the electric division in the city of Monroe is going to be doing that. So staff will be working with that to ensure that's going to be something satisfactory. And two, though, this is going to be a facility that's going to be open either from 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. So it's not going to have the typical lights you would have at a mall or a shopping center. Where it's going to be lit enough for safety purposes, but it's not going to be, bright like you'd see at a shopping center. The elevations for the building, it's going to be a mixture of brick and glass on the exterior. And it's going to be a 3-story building, and after they can better describe it, but there's one side, just due to the topo of the site, one side will be 3-story. I can't remember what side. One side will be 3-story, and one side will be 2-story based on the topo of the site. And here's kind of a colored rendering of it. The grade of the property is such that the stormwater detention for the site, BMP, will be located in this area down here by the intersection of Concord Avenue and Skyway Drive, because that's where it just naturally flows and grades slopes that way. The land development plan indicates this area is to be classified as low-density residential. The proposed project is not consistent with the land development plan, but staff believes it's reasonable use for the following reasons. First, the project is in close proximity to US 74 and located along Skyway Drive, a major corridor. 2, the close proximity to retail sales and service located along Skyway Drive and Concord Avenue. And 3rd, the city's land development plan was developed in 2000, which is 14 years old now, and does not reflect the current land use patterns and market trends. And currently, we're in the process of updating that land use plan. Staff and plan board do recommend approval of this project tonight, and there's a resolution in your packets for your consideration, and I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any at this time.
Talk about the little drive-through window, which will hopefully
Oh.
eliminate some of the
Yes.
people parking.
One thing, and they can probably answer more questions about their daily functions, but, the questions come out each time we've had a meeting about this is how many people they generate on a daily basis. And they'll give you that, but they say they generate approximately 8,000 visits a month. And from speaking with them, they have a lot of people that just need to drop stuff off. And what they provided on this site right here is a drop-off window or a drive-up window where you can drop things off. But because, at their current facility, I probably say it's probably fair to say the way it's laid out at this point in time does not function well based on the parking, and it's an old strip center. So they did provide this to help, mitigate people from having to go in and park, walk, come out though. So they did provide this drop-off window where people can drive up and drop things off in a window without having to, take up parking spaces. And obviously the county's here tonight to answer any questions you have of them also.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. Is anyone here who would like to speak in favor? Anyone here who would like to speak in opposition? I have a couple of names here. If there's any council, anybody has any question, I'm sure they'd be glad to come and speak. I've got some names here, and we'll call on you in just a minute if any questions. Okay, at this time, we'll close the public hearing and take action.
Motion to approve with resolution.
Second.
Actually, you're fine.
Okay.
I was just gonna suggest we have a motion to close the hearing, so it's clear on the record there.
Okay. Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Mayor,
Yes.
also I'd like to thank the county for choosing this site and keeping this project in the city of Monroe. I think it's going to be a real asset, and just want to recognize them and thank them.
Yeah, I have a Mr. Garius and a Mr. Dolan, I believe it's present. If there's any questions for them from the council, anyone? Okay. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 10, a zoning text amendment to section 156.196, a designation.
They've already voted and they've approved it. There was a question. Should I just put it away that the council approved the last item? We're
We
good.
just voted on it. I thought anybody would know we approved it.
We do. It was just, clerk and I were talking about how we were going to have to close, but it's fine. It's all good.
All right.
You ready?
Yes, sir, I'm
That's
sorry.
what-
I said, all right, I thought you knew.
Okay. I thought,
Thank you, I'm sorry.
this next is just its own text amendment to 4 sections. And basically, 2 of the sections, 156.96 and 156.28, are just some housekeeping issues to correct some ordinance references. The 2 sections with the medium are section 156.201, certificates of appropriateness. And basically what this is time to take action. Currently how it is in the ordinance is that once somebody applies for a certificate of appropriateness to demolish a house, the historic district can delay up to 180 days. And what the state law requires is we can actually give them up to 365 days so they can work with the applicant to try to find some resolution to it. And so staff is bringing forward this to you to consider. And also the other one, 156.204, is titled Certificates of Appropriateness Delay of Effective Date. Only thing this is basically when we receive a petition, we're supposed to have, from the day we receive, we have 45 days for it to act on it, which means the historic district act on it. And typically what the problem we have is if it gets turned in right after a meeting, we're not meeting that 45 days all the time. So what we're asking is to extend it 60 days, which is consistent with state requirements. And that's all these certificates, these amendments are. 2 housekeeping ones, and the other 2 I discussed. I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have any at this time too.
Council have any questions? Thank you, sir. This is a public hearing. Do we have anyone who would like to speak in favor? Anybody who would like to speak in opposition? Hearing none, we'll close this hearing and take action.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, that will pass.
Mayor, one thing
Yes.
on that, this will not affect the Laney Lee house because that was done before this amendment happened,
Yes, okay.
just for clarification.
Item 11, Charlotte Monroe Executive Report. Peter, we recognize you at this time, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, council. I come to you for the work authorization. As part of our strategic objective to increase the assets on the grounds out at the airports, planes, and hangars and reduce the operating deficit, we have a demand right now, current demand for additional space. And on top of that, our airport is at 100% capacity of storage. We have no space, extra space, to bring in more aircraft and or have extra we do have land, but we don't have the hangar space. So I'm coming to you for approval for work authorizations to allow our airport engineers to design infrastructure improvements in an area that we'll have identified that supports 4 new hangar sites. And I have a diagram here that shows these sites. What we're proposing is the design of an access road and the utilities. And the city's engineering department has already provided us with some general estimate that I can use as a kind of a gauge for a budgetary number. But what this authorization will do is actually have the engineers be able to produce actual drawings, sealed drawings that can be put out for bid for the contractors. Once the design is out there and we get the actual numbers for the contractors, then we can go directly to the prospects that are interested in building hangars, privately constructed hangars out there, and negotiate a lease rate so that they will reimburse us for those infrastructure improvements. Additionally, one of the areas that we're looking at, one of the sites we're looking at, is for us to build a city-owned hangar, because there's also a need for individual hangar space. In other words, not just the hangar where a company would privately construct the entire hangar, but the city would have a hangar on one of their own hangars, so we can lease to individual space. The cost of the infrastructure improvements and the construction of the city-owned hangar would be reimbursed through the lease stream, the lease for individual space, the increased fuel sales, and the incremental property tax derived from the newly based aircraft and the privately constructed hangars. And no actual infrastructure construction will be done until we have an actual lease agreement in place with with a company. And right now, of the 3 available sites that I'm looking at marketing, I have one that's pending final agreement for a lease. And once that is secured, which we're in the final negotiation states, we will be able to start on the construction, the actual improvements, after we get the pricing from the contractors. And we have currently a list of about a dozen aircraft awaiting hangar space too, of which includes 2 turboprop aircraft. And so it's about approximately $4 to $5 million in taxable assets that are interested in being based at the airport. So we request the approval of a budget ordinance and the work authorization to publish and manage the bid openings for these infrastructure improvements, and the approval of the reimbursement resolution with the intent to finance the infrastructure improvements and new aircraft storage with a loan from the electric fund. And Lisa Strickland is here to assist me with the presentation of the feasibility plan.
Also attached to your packet is a business plan outlining the payback on this investment. What we're showing is once we're built out, we'll be able to make the lease payments and still net nearly $100,000 a year. We're planning to finance these improvements by the electric fund. We're not asking for approval of the promissory note tonight. We want to wait when we have the construction bids in hand. We'll come back to council for a final approval of that promissory note and the award of the construction contracts. Any questions? It'll be a 20-year loan from the electric fund at about 2.4%.
Mayor, I move approve.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any questions, comments?
Just a question, and you say that the payments back to the electric fund will come from proceeds of these lease agreements?
Yes, sir.
They will.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve, do I have a second?
I second it.
I have a motion, a second, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that will pass.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, sir. Item 12 is public comment period. Is anyone here who would like to address council on the public comment period time?
Mayor, I have something I need to address the council.
Okay.
I am going to step down as the delegate for COG, so either you will need to appoint somebody else from council, or you're the alternate, you will have to start attending.
Okay. All right, is anyone interested in being the delegate for COG? Okay. I'll work something out on this then. All right, anything else?
Yes, I have one more thing. Mayor, I'd like to say one more time, I'd like to bid farewell to our assistant city manager, finance director. I certainly hate to see him go. It's going to be our loss, but High Point's gain. You've done an exceptional job, Greg, and I've made no secret of that. And I am just wish you all the best, and you've done a great job.
All right, anything else? Hearing none,
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor? We adjourn.